The stars of tomorrow began their journey right here in the European Talent Cup. Race 1 is done and dusted and confined to the history books, and it was an exciting and enticing contest throughout. 15 laps lie ahead for the youngest riders in the series around the ultra-technical and magnificent Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. 4.23 kilometres and 2.16 miles of tarmac situated along the Adriatic coast is a true test of rider and machine, and they proved in race 1 they're up for the challenge. Marco Morelli put in a stunning lap of a 1:45.379 for his first pole position of the season, and we're ready to go racing for race number 2 here in Misano in the European Talent Cup. So, glorious sunshine echoes around the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. My name's Liam Hodgins. Alongside me is my partner in crime, Connor Doherty. And we've just seen what has to be 4 incredible races here today, including race number 1 of the European Talent Cup. And Connor, I think if race 1 is anything to go by, race number 2 is literally going to be another blockbuster.
Absolutely, Liam. I cannot wait for this race to get underway, because what we were treated to in the first race was absolutely sensational. There's some extraordinary talent being exhibited here in Misano.
Yeah, there is indeed, and there's a lot of fans come out as the sunshine has come out throughout the day, even though a lot of people still have their jackets on. As you said, Connor, you've been the one that's outside in the paddock. I've been kept up here in the box, all confined. That in the sunshine it's very warm, but in the shade it's not so much.
Yeah, I think it's standard Mediterranean situation, especially in early spring.
Indeed it is, but this is what happened in race number 1. Earlier on today, it was Marco Morelli from his first ever pole position that took the advantage ahead of Gonzalez, but it would be Pugliese from row number 4, from third spot on the grid, who would be challenging them. So the top 3 pulled away as Gonzalez and Morelli continued to battle all the way throughout. They dropped the likes of Marianus Nicolos and the chasing pack, and also Cano, who came through the back of the grid from 28th. He already found himself inside 4th place on lap number 5. But there was the top 3 that battled away early doors. It was Gonzalez and Morelli that continued to chop each other up. But look at this move from Gonzalez around the outside of Morelli into turn number 1. But Pugliese just kept his powder dry, just sitting there waiting as these two continued to scrap it out amongst themselves in front of him. The top 3 would continue to gap the chasing pack behind, eventually going over 15 seconds at the highest points. But towards the end of the race, it looked like Gonzalez was running into some technical troubles as he ran wide at turn number 1. He'd eventually stay on his bike to finish 7 seconds off the win and 3rd spot for his first podium in European Talent Cup. But on the final lap, it was Pugliese who finally made his move on Morelli, and it was Pugliese who held off a charging Morelli into the final corner, squared off the final turn to the line, and in the slipstream, Pugliese took victory over Morelli by only 9 thousandths of a second. Morelli became a European Talent Cup race winner for the first time in front of his home fans here at Misano. Morelli finished second ahead of Gonzalez. That was your podium positions. So who can top Pugliese in race number 2? Well, as you just saw there, the fizzy water was sprayed aloud. I hope they've changed their suits for race number 2 today, or a couple of them will be very sticky inside. They have very warm racing suits for race number 2.
That would be quite uncomfortable.
It really would be, yeah. So, as the track temperature has risen to 31 degrees Celsius, the air temperature is only 14 degrees Celsius. So, track temperature is still quite cool, to be honest. So, as we saw in race number 1, it looked like a couple of tyre problems might have been hampering some of the riders, especially in the second group, with especially Carlos Cano coming through from the back of the grid. He eventually dropped into finished 6th after getting as high as 4th. But Gonzalez, question marks about what happened to him in race number 1. He was in the front pack. Was it tyre troubles he ran into, or was it technical issues? If I hazard a guess, Connor, I think it was probably technical.
Yeah, I mean, the tyre management is going to be so important again. And I think as he was taking his place at the front, he looked like he was very much on course to secure first place, but wasn't able to do it. And you'll know better than I would whether it's technical or not.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think we'll have to get our colleague Jack Gorst in the commentary box for for that one. But he's probably enjoying his very well-deserved off weekend this weekend.
But as we've said on countless occasions, you've got a second opportunity here.
Indeed, he does indeed. Gonzalez going from, well, second place on the grid again on what is an incredible looking AC Racing machine, the number 11. So very good team, a team that is the stalwart of the championship here, taking Guido Pini to championship success a couple of years ago, also running Luca Lanetta in the JuniorGP World Championship. But the team that's taking Marco Morelli to hopefully success is the MLAV Racing team, and Marco Morelli has started this year on fine form. Pole position yesterday, second place today, just missed out on his first race win of the season, his second race win in the class. And Marco Morelli has been touted as a next big name for the future, and he's a very quiet and humble young guy. You see him around the paddock hanging around, just talking to his parents. The team absolutely adore him. They think he's fantastic to work with. He did come into the team midway through 2023 to help the team get back to the front, and you can say he's done that with great success.
Yeah, he put in an incredible shift as well in that race one.
And David Gonzalez, well, David, what can you do for this one? Your first podium in European Talent Cup. A big wave to the camera, full throttle. Yes, we'll be hoping for lots of throttle in this one. If he was missing out on any of it in race number 1, well, I'm sure he'll have full gas here today for the second race of the day in the European Talent Cup. And he goes from second on the grid, as he did in race number 1. We're just getting timer up. The pit lane is going to be closing in 1 second time, and it's closed now, but I don't think anyone has had to rush to get out. So everyone that we were expecting on the grid is there. So Julio Pugliese, first time race winner in race number 1 here today, with Sergio Garcia, former 125cc race winner, holding the umbrella. So some of you might remember him from the days when Hector Falbel, Gabor Talmashi and him were all challenging for the podium inside the Aspar team. And well, it's good to see that once you've finished your tenure being a professional racer, you can find solitude somewhere within the team. So Pugliese going from the outside of row number 1. We'll be looking for him to do what he did in race number 1. Will he just hold back, watch what the rest are doing in front of him, and then strike at the most pivotal point on the final lap? Gonzalo Perez dropped back a little bit. We expected big things from him in race number 1, but he finished eventually in a lowly 12th position with 4 points. I say a lowly 12th position. He was part of that second group that was chopping each other up left, right and centre. So he was one of the unfortunate victims that got shuffled all the way back towards the end of the group. But he'll be looking for more success in race number 2.
And he's got the opportunity to do just that, Liam. I think the big difference with what happened in the previous race is that the front runners managed to get so far ahead so early on, and the rest of the riders were forced to battle it out, scrap it out, if you will.
Yeah, indeed. It seems like there's a bit of a chasm between the top group and the second group, and one rider that didn't really get much of a chance to show what he was capable of was Luca Agostinelli, the young Vietnamese rider. Shown good form, qualifying second, but unfortunately crashed out early on in race number 1.
Yeah, he'll be looking to take advantage of this second opportunity here in race 2 in the Junior GP.
Yeah, the number 90 rider taking in some of that refreshment before lights go out in just a few moments time. He is going from the middle of row number 2. But on his right and our left, when we do eventually see him, is going to be another newcomer, Martinez on the 27, who is once again the Venezuelan who showed good form in the first race, having the umbrella held for him by Alonso Lopez, Moto2 race winner, especially round about here a couple of years ago in the Moto2 World Championship. 7 points from the first race, 9th in the championship, as you were when you finished in race number 1. So keep a close eye out on for the young Venezuelan, because he's shown great potential. And it looks like we've got some, Pecco Bagnaia fans in the grandstand here today. And talking of Pecco Bagnaia, him and Marco Bezzecchi were actually gracing us with their presence here on Friday, watching the young up-and-coming stars of the future.
Absolutely. I wonder what they would have been thinking about some of those Italian riders.
Yeah, probably more thinking about, my goodness me, we must get it. We must make sure that we get up to speed, because they look like they're fast and they look like they're coming for us.
Absolutely.
So.
Watch out Bagnaia, watch out Bezzecchi.
Yeah, I don't think Pecco's too worried about that with his 2 World Championship or 3 World Championships, 2 MotoGP. However,
well, you can never get too comfortable. Eh? There's always someone waiting to take your ride.
Wow, there absolutely is indeed. As we just saw, one of the riders who will probably be hoping to become a Ducati factory rider in the future. That is Marianos Nicolas, the 37 from Australia. He was part of the second group and showing good form, leading much of it before he was eventually shuffled further down the field into 8th. But Longarella, he's another rider that didn't score any points. 41st in the championship. Like, my goodness me, there's only 30 riders on the grid. But if you take all of the riders that have been part of this weekend, including the riders that did not qualify for the race, unfortunately, he's been put to the back of that. So, yeah, 41 riders are on the entry list at the start of the weekend. It was whittled down to 30, and unfortunately, he did show good pace in the first race of the day, but he'll be hoping for a clean race and some points to get him from that lowly 41st position on the championship.
Some of the lower categories he's really shown what he's capable of. He was champion of Pre-Moto 3 in Spain, Moto 4 champion in Spain as well, so
he's got some pedigree, does he?
He does have some pedigree.
Yes, he's got a lot of talent, so make sure you keep an eye out on him, as we will. Christian Daniel Jr., he crashed out in the opening stages of the first lap, to be honest, and tangled with another couple of riders, showing good form as of late as the young American rider, and well, running the number 70, I say couldn't get any lower in the championship. He's in 48th position, my old racing number, so I guess you can do. Unlucky for some. It was very unlucky for me, considering my career went nowhere after a while. So
I don't know. Are you giving us that number just in case someone wants to give you a call?
I mean, it's 48, 48, 48. And no, I'm joking. At gmail.com.
Could you do a job in the ETC?
Could I do it? No, I could not. Maybe when I was 14 years old, but not at the veteran age of almost 32. So let's move on from that one. Oh, these kids are almost half our age. You're only a week older than I. I'm going to have to mention I'm not the oldest one in this commentary booth, to be honest.
No, well, you've already said it now.
So we've just heard the klaxon to signal the team members getting off the grid, and here's Ikegami, the young Japanese rider, running the 34 bike, and he started from 10th on the grid. Another rider that, well, didn't have a great time of things in race number 1, crashing out early doors, but he'll be looking for a much better run of things in race number 2 here today, and was, as we said, 3rd in Qatar in the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah,
race number 1 last year.
He's a rider that's capable of getting on the podium. It's just a question of whether we're going to get to see a bit more of him this time around.
Well, it's extremely difficult for some Asian riders to come over to the European scene and really make their mark, but it looks like he has done so already, with already a top 10 position on the grid, which is not too bad, considering he wouldn't have had much running around this Misano circuit. Edu Gutierrez running the number 14 in 14th position in the championship. Fortunately for him, unfortunately not for us, for Symmetrics, in 14th place in the grid. He's in 11th on the grid, and he's another rider that was well and truly within that pack. There was absolute chaos at times from 4th all the way down to 15th position. But Edu Gonzalez, Gutierrez, another rider to keep an eye out on. And then we have Fernando Biosa, so the young Spanish rider running the number 69. And that's had some great success, that number, in the MotoGP World Championship with the likes of Nicky Hayden in the past. So, yeah, another rider running an iconic number to keep your eye out on. But the number 97, the tyre warmers will be coming off that machine in just a couple of moments' time. The MLAV Racing, Marco Morelli, he is about to set off for race number 2 in pole position.
Here we have the grid then. It's Marco Morelli from pole position, as Liam has just confirmed for us. He's followed by Gonzalez and Pugliese to complete that front row. In row 2, Perez, Agostinelli and Tinez. In row 3, Nicolis, Longarella and Daniel Jr. In row 4, Ikegami, Gutierrez and Bujosa. In row 5, Zani, Tamburini and Torres. In row 6, Perone, Tessini and Alzina. In row 7, it's Da Costa, Fernandez and Cayet. Row 8, Almeida, San Juan and Veijer. Row 9, Rostagni, Marco and Payne. And in row 10, we've got Cano, Rodrigo and Frelsen.
Marco Morelli going from pole position once more. Can he convert this one into a race win? Or can it be Gonzalez to take his first victory in European Talent Cup after his maiden podium earlier on today? Or will it be a double from Pugliese chasing his second victory in European Talent Cup after taking a maiden one earlier on today? I asked you for your predictions, Connor, at the start of Junior GP. Maybe this one will be a little bit easier, considering it was a little bit less frantic than Junior GP race number 1 was, as we saw from race number 2. If you're putting your money on the table now, who would you say?
I think I might have to go with the pole here, Liam.
Go for Marco Morelli?
I think I might have to.
I think that's a very good shout. I think I might be going for the rider that, well, dropped off quite substantially towards the end of the race. Gonzalez. I think he looked like he was up for the fight. He looked very fast. It just looked like there was a bit of a problem towards the end of the race, so we don't really quite know. He's a bit of a wild card for this one in the top 3.
I mean, he was competing until he had that issue, and then he found himself effectively in no man's land between the 2 riders at the front and the enormous pack at the back, and he was just there 4 seconds between both of them.
Exactly. So good stuff there from Gonzalez, the number 11 rider. We will expect to see him battling along with Morelli and Pugliese, your race 1 winner in this race here today. And look at that, blue skies gracing us with its presence here over Misano. It's a great setting, and the hills around the circuit are just breathtaking as well, Connor.
Yeah, this entire area is absolutely stunning. Entire Adriatic coast of Italy is just fantastic, and we're privileged to be here, I know that.
Indeed, first time here for myself. I think it's the second time for you.
It is the second time. I believe I came here in the middle of winter, which was a very pleasant experience as well, but for different reasons.
Not jealous whatsoever for that one. So, just saw the championship standings there, and it is Pugliese that leads the championship by 5 points over Morelli, and then 9 points further back from the championship leader is Gonzalez. So, as you were from race number 1, but who will it be leading the championship once we leave Misano here today in just over 30 minutes time? Rolling up to P1, hoping for a repeat of that position 1 from qualifying yesterday is Marco Morelli on the M-Lav racing machine, the AC racing rider, who'll be looking for a little bit better in race number 2 with his first win. But there's Pugliese, your race 1 winner. He will be looking to make it a double here in Misano as revs rise. Lights go out, and it's European Talent Cup race number 2 underway now, and Gonzalez from the middle of the front row gets us a brilliant start. So does Pugliese. He's not waiting around for this one. He's already to the front, as is Morelli round the outside. Oh my goodness, they've split them both almost. I thought Morelli was going for that, but it's now Gonzalez who's taking a look. A few crashers down in the background there. We've got 4, maybe 5 riders down in the background, so hopefully they're all okay. That was a bit of a tangling together there, so 5 riders already out of this race early doors, but the rider that's not out of this race just yet is Gonzalez, and we hope he won't be out of it. It's Gonzalez, Pugliese from Morelli, and Marianos Nicolas. We've got a crasher there. That's Nicolas has gone down. Nicolas from 4th. We just said what a great start he had. He's already gone down from 4th position, so that's a disaster there for the number 37. But Tienes is looking up the inside of Perez, so it's all action here, all drama here in the first few corners of European Talent Cup race number 2.
Gonzalez really making that experience count for something. We spoke in the previous race about his racing here in the Italian Moto3 Championship.
It's such a shame there from Nicolas. He was looking good already early doors. So the young Australian rider who's part of the Mondial Australia Galita team here, it'll be a front end moment. Yeah, tucking it in, front end washes away. So it's the first time at the start of the lap you really pushed the left-hander, and he got a bit of a flick there from the gravel trap, didn't he?
Yeah.
And here's the ensuing action further back, and that was his teammate there clipping somebody else, and then that just starts off a chain of events with 5 riders eventually tumbling into the gravel trap. So yeah, that was the number 69. So we're just talking about him there at the start of the race. But you also had the Australia Galicia team rider looking good, but unfortunately he's race didn't last any more than 4 corners. But look at this, it's not a group of 3 like last time, it's a group of 4, and Tienes is joined them. So the young Venezuelan rider, it's showing his form. We did say keep an eye out for him, and we really are this time round. He did crash early doors in race number 1, so now that he's managed to get through the first lap corner, he's already in, well, with a chance of his first podium and potentially even his first victory.
Potentially, yeah. I think this is the rider we expected to see before we were unfortunately denied it by events in the first race, and if he's able to keep up with this opening group, who've already proved what they're capable of in race 1, well then he's also showing his pedigree as well.
Indeed he is, indeed he is. So Zani is in 5th just behind this group, all by him is lonesome right now in the number 95. But Agostinelli, the Vietnamese rider, he leads the group here, but he's getting a bit of a dive bomb up the inside from Perron, who was in 4th place in race number 1. The rider we need to keep an eye out on, who started 28th once again, Cano. He's already up to 12th. We can see him in the group on the white bike in the middle of this pack here. He looks like he's having to go up the inside of Torres. Torres, who served the long lap penalty in race number 1, doesn't have to do so this time round. So Torres is trying to fend off his top 10 position from Cano. So Cano all over the back of him, as we see.
A bit of deja vu there, I think.
Indeed,
from the first race.
It is indeed a bit of deja vu, but look at Martinez, incredible on the Finnet Work Mir racing team bike, and the number 27 at the back of this group. He's sticking with this top 3 who were the class above in race number 1 today. So this is great to see already from the Venezuelan rookie.
And come the end of the race, what happened in the last one? Well, if they're all up there in contention,
Morelli and Gonzalez taking absolute liberties with the track. They're running off over the curb there, so yeah, they're creating their own circuit, but probably not the well, maybe that is the fastest, that's why they're using it. So for now, and look at that.
The fastest lap.
Fastest lap of the race, 1:45.7. It looks like he has the pace to run with this top 3 early doors, so this is great stuff to see. It was a great race to have with the top 3, but to add an extra one into it, and another rider that we haven't seen before, it's even better.
What do they say, the more the merrier?
More the merrier, indeed. So it's an Argentinian that leads a Spanish, leads an Italian, and leads a Venezuelan. So a very international crop of riders we have at the front of this race, and it's very exciting indeed.
They're very good for the sport.
Very good for the sport. Very good for the up-and-coming nationalities that we're starting to see come to the fore in motorcycle racing. We've had Colombia with David Alonso. We might have Argentina. We might also have Venezuela, and maybe even Vietnam as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Liam.
So many of them coming through, and it's great to see a diverse of nationalities. But it looks like Morelli is starting to just eke out a small gap over Gonzalez in this stage of the race. Lap number 3 of 15 around the Misano circuit. Marco Simoncelli.
We did see, Liam, that in the first race, Gonzalez was happy to concede a bit of time because he knows that he's got the pace to keep up with Morelli.
Yeah.
He could just be biding his time.
Oh, here comes a move. Here comes a move from Tienes. Oh, wow, what a move. It looks like he's been riding with these guys forever, but he hasn't. This is the first time he's ridden in this group with these riders. And that's the 30 down. That's Rostagini, so of the Mecha Sport machine. So he's out of the race early doors. That's such a shame for him.
Yeah, he's frustrated. It was Rostagni.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it was maybe a crash or maybe a technical issue for the young Italian rider there. But back at the front, so the French rider, back at the front, it is Pugliese, who's Tienes is already chopping back. He's up for this fight. Gonzalez, fastest lap of the race at 1:45.3, as Pugliese and Tienes are really battling back and forth for this one. So chopping each other up quite a lot here. So that's just letting the top 2 get away ever so slightly.
Exactly. It's really playing into the hands of Morelli and Gonzalez.
And it looks like the group just behind Tienes and Pugliese on the final lap, they had lost a couple of tenths of a second, but Perron and Cano were lapping faster than Pugliese last time round, as Pugliese chops the front off Tienes going into Quercher corner and back into 3rd spot. So he's now seen that the top 2 are slowly eking this gap away, slowly building a bit of an advantage, and he doesn't want them to pull away too much of a second. Then Pugliese, he was cool, calm and collected in race number 1 and timed his victory charge to absolute perfection. He doesn't want anyone messing that up. He's happy to sit there in 3rd spot. He doesn't want Tienes to just start carving him up and slowing them both down and let these 2 get away.
Absolutely. He looks like a rider with a very intelligent nose that needs to be managing those Pirelli tyres.
Well, he's not managed them so far because he's already back up to them.
Exactly. But it's something he was able to do in the first race.
Yeah, he had a bit of not a disaster on the opening lap, but he struggled in the opening lap and he had a bit of a gap to the top 2, but managed to reel him in pretty quickly. But it's not just that, he's pulled Tienes along as well. So these top 4 pulling away ever so slightly from the chasing pack, just as you see him flash into the screen there. It's Zani and Perron on the 95 and 73 respectively, as the MLAV racing team cheer on give Morelli a bit of a boost, but he's probably sitting there. I'm going as fast as I can. Can you leave me be? So, lap number 5, 11 laps to go. It's Morelli leading the way from Gonzalez, and Pugliese just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:45.320 from the Italian, and Tinez a couple of tenths of a second slower, but you can see already he's already on the back of this group. So it's Morelli from Gonzalez from Pugliese, but it's going to be Pugliese for very long in third. I don't think so. It looks like he's up the inside of Gonzalez. Gonzalez chops to the inside, trying to get back up the inside, and he has done as well. So great move there by Gonzalez, but has he kept the apex? He has done. So Pugliese had to settle for third after drafting past Gonzalez. Gonzalez was having none of it, and back up the inside he went into Quercia.
Well, what did we say, Liam, in the first race? If you try and make a move and it doesn't come off as well as you'd hope, then you can be punished for it. These 4 might be a bit hesitant to do that. I mean, obviously Pugliese has tried there. Gonzalez closed the door very well, but
yeah, incredible action there. The racecraft these 4 are showing already in their young careers. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, Tien is running the outside of Pugliese, your race 1 winner. Wow, what is going on there? Absolutely showing no respect to the established star from race number 1 and taking anything he can, and just was like, yeah, run the outside, easy as you like, I'll take third place, thank you very much. You'll have to try a little bit harder next time to keep me in 4th. So absolutely incredible there from Tinez. Venezuelan rider really showing his chops. And race number 2 here today, but Pugliese's got great tops. He's got great top end speed, this Pugliese, but around the outside, swooping around the outside, my goodness me, he's incredible on the brakes. He's got no fear, does he? The number 27 of Tinez on the 27 bike. And I must admit, Venezuela, if you're watching this action here, I hope you're jumping around and cheering, because what a star you might have in your hands here with Tinez. He's a great star already.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's really comfortable at this level.
Yeah, and he's racing with these riders for the first time, which is even more impressive. So, powering down towards Quercia once more. Gonzalez just happy to sit behind Morelli for the time being, and on the previous lap, the top 3 were in the 145s. It was Pugliese that time that was in the 46s. Also in the 46s, 45s was Perron, the Argentinian, back in 5th spot. So, yeah, he's coming to the fore. Cano, his progress is stopped at 7th place, so he charges through from the back of the grid incredibly fast, but then he gets stuck around about 6th or 7th, can't really progress from there. But the top 2 once again look like they're opening up a bit of an advantage over Pugliese, who's back in the 3rd. Pugliese's got incredible, I can't believe how fast that bike is in a straight line. It just seems to, any deficit he has to the top 2, just manages to reel it back in 3-4 bike lengths, and it's already on the back of them by the time they get to Caro Corner at the end of the lap. So it's MLAV Racing Team that's leading the way from AC Racing Team, and then you have the 31 of the Aspar Junior Team, and then the Mir Racing Fennett Work Team with Kerman Tinez on the back. So it's a great variety of teams in this one here, and all vying for the top honours here today. If the championship was, if the flag was thrown now, the championship would look like this. Morelli by 4 points over Pugliese. Gonzalez 9 points back as he started this race, and then Perron, the Argentinian rider, in 4th spot. So after he picked up 4th in race number 1, he'll hold that with another 5th place so far. The number 73 rider showing great form just behind this group.
I do wonder sometimes just how useful those championship standings are whilst the race is going on, because in this class, Liam, we saw so much chopping and changing before that you could have just kept the graphic up and just kept it changing.
Honestly, with a race like this, it's going to be chopping and changing. However, thankfully, it's not a race like we just saw in JuniorGP, where there's about 15 riders all in the mix for it, and it was all chopping and changing constantly. There was no point in having the championship graphics up, but for this one, it's not too bad.
It does seem to be a bit more stable, let's say.
Yes. Very measured rides coming from all 4 of these young riders, all within half a second of each other. And Pugliese, if we just keep a watching brief on him, the rider in 3rd spot through Carvoni carries so much speed. That Aspar Junior Team bike has a lot of speed. And once again, Tinez round the outside of Pugliese. I cannot believe what I'm watching. This is outstanding. Let's go for 2nd as well. round the outside, up the inside, and he's not made a stick up. Oh, rear end moment, front end moment, rear end moment. He stays on it. He's absolutely box office stuff as the young Venezuelan rider on the 27 Mere Finite Work Racing Team machine. Outstanding stuff. The rest of the riders are trying to bide their time and size each other up. He's having none of it. He's going to be like, yeah, you know what, if you're going to just take it a little easy, I'll make sure you're still awake and I'll ride round the outside of you and over the top of you if you have to. So,
absolutely.
As it should be. Great riding there from the rider in fourth, Tinez, the Venezuelan rider. He's just slotted in back behind Pugliese again, your race 1 winner.
Just riding them all. I'm here. If you give me the opportunity, I'm going to take it.
I'm astonished watching him riding around the outside of Pugliese. That's twice as they come through Carvoni along that triple right-hander.
Well, as the day goes, well, I mean the weekend. As the weekend goes on, he's a rider that's shown real adaptation to this level of racing. Obviously, we didn't see him in the first race, but in practice, P9, in qualifying P6.
Indeed, he's just been working his way forward, hasn't he? Like practice.
Upward trajectory, I think.
Upward trajectory, yeah, indeed. And that's what any team wants to see, is that if a rider who comes in the first season, the first races, as long as they keep improving, then you know you've got a talent on their hands. And these two are having a bit of a battle as well. Tinez's teammates Zani and Perron, the battle for 5th and 6th. These two are well and truly ahead of Cano and Torres in 7th and 8th, with Ikegami and 9th spot ahead of Tamburini, so that's running at the top 10, and Agostinelli, the Vietnamese rider, who is still in this race, which is great to see considering he was had a bit of an issue in the first race. He's in 11th ahead of Calle, Perez, Alcina and Rodrigo. So great battles all the way down the field, and a fantastic battle for 5th and 6th here as Perron is just retaking 5th spot from Zani.
That's again something that could change very quickly, those two.
And look who's back in the 3rd. I wonder if that was the same move again. I imagine it probably was. But at least this time he's not lost the rear and almost thrown himself to the scenery this time. So it's Morelli from Gonzalez, from Tinez, from Pugliese, from Perron, from Zani, Cano, Torres, Agostinelli, Tamburini running out your top 10 with 7 laps to go. Lap 9 of 15. And is it just me? Or is the group behind of Perron and Zani beginning to close in this top group? I thought I was seeing things, but I'm not wrong. There were last time, right? Okay, it's only a 1/10 of a second, but the top group were 1:45.9, 1:45.9, 1:45.7, 1:46.0, 1:45.8, and 1:45.8 for Perron and Zani. So they were only slower than Tinez in 3rd spot last time, so they were faster by only a 1/10 of a second than your race leader.
Well, they've still got a hard job to catch up with this leading group of 4.
Yeah, leading group of 4 are well and truly gone at the moment. There's a gap of 3.2 seconds from the leader back to Perron in 5th position. So you've got to go some to catch these 4 if you want to get on the podium. But as we've seen in the closing stages of a couple of races here today, anything can happen in the final couple of laps. And I wouldn't rule out any of these riders potential standing on the podium. And here comes Gonzalez. He's had a couple of nibbles up the inside of Morelli, but not so much now. But look at Tinez. He's not even on the green. He's on the curb. Is he going to swoop round the outside once more? Not today with Gonzalez. It was only Pugliese that could get round the outside. But yeah, Tinez struggling a little bit more with Gonzalez in front of him to swoop round the outside. But once again, showing his form.
I wonder if Morelli's thinking that he needs to start creating a bit of a gap as well after what happened in the first race.
Yeah, you can imagine that Morelli, who we spoke to his team yesterday, where he was quite confident in thinking that he can maybe break away from the group behind. Very fast in the opening sector of the lap was Morelli, and Tinez is going for 2nd here on Gonzalez, but Gonzalez chops off the front, as we saw him do on Morelli in race number 1 today. But yes, Morelli, maybe he's just biding his time, maybe just holding the pack up ever so slightly, because they're now into the 146s. So is it Morelli the holding station for now? Is he just dropping back ever so slightly, controlling the pace, or is he now starting to run into a little bit of tyre trouble, as we saw from a couple of riders in race number 1? We know that track temperature is roughly the same as it was this morning, but air temperature is almost doubled today. So as a power down the back straight over the kink of turn number 7, Morelli late on the brakes, Gonzalez not quite late enough, and Tinez and Pugliese hold station for now as it come through Quarter Corner. 5.5 laps remaining as Pugliese does look over his shoulder. Maybe he's starting to feel the pressure a little bit from Perron and Zani, who on previous lap were in the 1:45.7. So they are catching ever so slightly, not by much.
0.2 this time.
0.2, but 3 seconds off the lead this time, so they were almost 0.3 of a second faster than your race leader on the final lap. As we've got through Carboni, 3 abreast almost. You're not supposed to be doing that in one of the most fearsome corners at any racetrack around the world, but still Morelli leading the way ahead of Gonzalez, Tinez and Pugliese. And Pugliese, as we saw in race number 1, as Tinez goes for a dive bomb up the inside of Gonzalez. Oh, and he has to set it up. He was almost got some yellow paint on that Fenwick Mir Racing Team machine. Purple and yellow, it's not a bad colour combination, but I don't think Tinez would have wanted any of that on his bike. As these 4 riders continue to chop and change and carve each other up, coming across the line once more. We'll keep an eye on the lap times. Morelli back into the 45s. However, 45.6, 45.7 for Zani and Perron. 2.9 seconds off the lead as we've got Tinez. My goodness me, that was an absolute lunge from miles back. They elect the stamp and sent the postcard, and Gonzalez, he's had a bit of a moment as well, and that's left Morelli with about a second with a lead as we come into the closing stages of this race. So what happened to Gonzalez? He ran a little bit deep coming into turn at number 2 with Tinez looking up the inside of Pugliese, and Pugliese was shuffled back to 4th and all of that. And in the background, Perron and Zani are now creeping into shot as they're starting to catch the battle for second.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what Morelli wanted as well. He found himself by himself, which is where maybe he expected to be. Again, we've said it ad nauseum lately, but during practice, during qualifying, he was perfectly content being by himself. He didn't expect to have to be in that pack, and now he's by himself at the front.
Yeah, it's a mark of a winner, a mark of a champion in the making. If you can lead from the front, especially in the European Talent Cup, then you know that you've got the talent, you've got the skill to do it. As Pugliese now, as we were talking about earlier on, he was running in the group for most of the weekend. That's where a lot of his fast lap times were coming from. However, as we can see here, he's now seen Morelli getting away, and he's now beginning to reel him back in. But Gonzalez would be. Oh my goodness me! That's Pugliese gone down. Pugliese pushing the front too hard. He slipped out of Carroll corner, and he saw Gonzalez trying to make a move up the inside, grabbed a bit too much of front brake lever, and down he went. So that's such a shame for Pugliese, your race 1 winner, and he is down and out. Can he get back into the race and maybe score at most a couple of points? So that's left Morelli high and dry out front in the lead with Gonzalez and Tinez now chasing him down. And now on that previous lap, Morelli was into the 1:45.7s, Gonzalez a 46.3, and Tinez, he's starting to come under pressure now from Perron and Zani. He was in the 46s as well. Yeah, he's back on the bike, but how far down is he? He'll be well out of contention now. I think he'll be struggling to get any points from their corner, but here we go again. He might have just been a little bit taken aback by Gonzalez lunging up the inside, because Gonzalez, I think, could have made that move stick, but Pugliese ran a little bit deep into Caro, front cried enough, and down he went. So
here we have those championship standings. Morelli leading 45, Gonzalez 36, 9 behind, and it's Perroni and Pugliese. So he's still in the top 4.
Yeah, still in top 4, but it'll be 20 points down on Morelli if Morelli wins this race. He'll be wanting Gonzalez. Oh, Gonzalez a bit of a moment there mid-corner through Tamburetto, so he'll be wanting Gonzalez. Gonzalez is starting to gain on them. A bit of a moment there. Look over the shoulder from Tinez. He's now seen that Zani and Perroni are now beginning to close him in. So has he been pushing too hard in the opening 12 laps of this race? Has his tyres now cried enough? Have they now gone, while Zani and Perroni have now kept enough life in those tyres and they've started to close him in? So he's having a lot of moments in the front end as Tinez there, especially into Caro. So I think his tyres are now gone.
Well, he was pushing very hard, trying to maintain that pace. And now it's actually incredibly impressive.
We'll see what the lap times.
Perroni and Zani.
Very impressive indeed. They've just been getting faster as the race has gone on. As we come across the line now, a 45.5 from Morelli, a 45.2 from Gonzalez, a 45.6 from Tinez. So he really is falling into trouble. But Gonzalez, let's keep an eye on that gap. He's only half a second behind Morelli for the lead, and Gonzalez has pulled a new fastest lap out of nowhere with 3 laps to go. And going into Rio corner, there they are. 1, 2 through your screen. Here comes Perroni up the inside of Tinez, not quite doing it just yet, but you've got a number of laps. It's going to be Perroni, and you can imagine Zani on the number 95 machine coming past Tinez, which is such a shame considering he was blockbuster in the opening few laps of the race. There's confirmation of the fastest lap of the race for Gonzalez, and blasting past Tinez was Perroni and Zani on the brakes as well. So It's a shame for Tinez, he's dropping out of contention now, but a 5th spot. He now has a gap of over 11 seconds back to Kano and 6th, so if he just holds station, he'll pick up a very well-earned top 5 here.
It doesn't look like they're being particularly calm here. All of these three want to be finishing ahead of the others.
Yeah, the number 73 and the number 95 chasing a podium here today. I don't think they were expecting to be in the podium battle, but there they are. And Zani up the inside of Carvoni. And are we going to see the same from Tinez again? Well, instead of going around the outside this time, he's gone up the inside. So he's taking a more conventional route through the triple right-hander. And Gonzalez leads. Gonzalez has taken the lead of this race with 2 and a bit laps to go. We've missed that as Morelli looks over his shoulder. Has Gonzalez maybe kept his tyres in check? Well, Morelli's have gone off. We thought Morelli had been pulling a blinder here.
It did look like he'd pulled away, but that is what stimulated both Pugliese and Gonzalez to put on the gas and try and chase him down, and that's exactly what they've done.
Well, look at that, 0.8 of a second between them in terms of lap time in the last lap as Tinez goes for that mercurial route around the outside and up the inside for turn number 2. So maybe his tyres haven't gone, maybe he was just trying to push too hard to keep up with these two, who are honestly setting a scorching pace out the front as Sane back up the inside. A bit of a bobble on from Tinez. My goodness me, remember guys, your teammates don't take each other out. You'll be having to not go to the steward's room, so to speak, but your boss's room. So
yeah, the best rivalries between teammates, aren't they?
Yeah, teammates, yeah, they'll be getting a bit of a word from the boss if they take each other out with a lap and a half to go. So for now, it's Gonzalez leading the way and Morelli in second, and it doesn't look like Morelli has any answer for Gonzalez. That gap is up to 0.3 of a second with a lap and a half remaining here. Gonzalez, he took his first podium in race 1 on course for his first ever European Talent Cup race win here at Misano. So, powering down the back straight for the penultimate time, it's Zani ahead of Tinez, ahead of Peroni for 3rd, 4th and 5th. The final step on the podium, but Tinez is coming to his favourite part of the track, round the outside of Carvoni, but looking for the inside and towards the 2nd and the 3rd of the triple right-handers, and not done it just yet, but Gonzalez still leading the way, and up the inside goes Tinez. Incredible stuff. He's got so much confidence on that front end, he just beelines for the apex, and what a move round the outside by Zani. Squares it off, swoops round the outside of his teammate, and thank you very much, I'll take that position back.
A bit further back, Kano is in 6th, and he's on course for double 6th place finishes.
That's incredible.
Despite starting from P28.
So final lap of the race, European Talent Cup begins, and I don't think the race for the win is over just yet. 0.3 of a second, they were both second in the same lap time, Morelli and Gonzalez, and it's Tinez once again found his way past his teammate of Zani, and there they are. Morelli hasn't given this one up, chasing his first victory since 2020 in the European Talent Cup. Oh, bit of a moment there on the curb from Gonzalez, but he's managed to hold it together for now. Gonzalez chasing his first ever European Talent Cup win. Just a lap and a quarter to go in this final European Talent Cup race of the day. And Tinez still in 3rd spot ahead of Zani, further behind, but we're keeping a close eye, as we should, on this battle for the win. So Gonzalez through quarter corner, a little bit wider than different lines merging together between Gonzalez and Morelli. And it's Gonzalez on AC Racing Team number 11 who's pushing that front. It's getting all squirrely under braking into Tamburello and Tremonto, I should say, and Morelli powering down the front straight. Have we lost one of the riders in the background? Did I just see 2 flash through it? We'll keep an eye on that time screen in case anything changes, or maybe they're just all together, so maybe miss one of the riders. But with only half a lap to go, Morelli up the outside through the triple right-hander, pushes Gonzalez out wide. Gonzalez, can he retaliate into Caro corner? No, he can't. Morelli beelines for the apex, sets it up, keeps it straight and narrow. They're both running, using all the edge of the track. Has Morelli timed this to perfection? Can Gonzalez? Gonzalez is out wide. He won't be able to win this now. He will be getting a track limits warning, so it's going to be Morelli from pole position, comes across the line to take victory for the first time since 2020. Morelli wins here in Misano, race number 2 from Gonzalez, and it's going to be Zani who takes 3rd, his first podium in European Talent Cup ahead of Peroni, and unfortunately Tinez, who gave us so much action throughout that race, has to settle for 5th. That's unfortunate there for the Venezuelan, but my goodness me, what a ride for the youngster on the number 27 machine, but what a ride from the MLab Racing Machine rider corner. Marco Morelli.
It did look in doubt for a moment, but in the end, he's managed to do exactly what was done to him in the previous race. Bided his time, made the move at the right moment, and he's going to stand on top of the podium as a consequence.
Yeah, what more do you want? Championship leader as well. With 45 points leaving Misano, Marco Morelli has done it. He is your race winner here in Misano. Pugliese was your race winner in race number 1 today, but he fell a narrow corner with a handful of laps remaining, pushing hard to catch a race winner. But my goodness, Marco Morelli, what an outstanding performance. And we've got to give lots of credit to David Gonzalez. The diminutive Gonzalez, the diminutive David, we must say, has well shown the world that he is going to be a name to be reckoned with going into the future. A third place in race number 1, his first ever podium, and he's backed that up with his best ever result in European Talent Cup. Second place for the rider on screen you see, and he pops a not too bad wheelie along the back straight as well. So a good day all round for David Gonzalez. So as the riders make their way round back to the pits to celebrate in Parc Fermé, rounding out the podium positions was Leonardo Zani. Finished 18th in the European Talent Cup Championship last season, but he's been building slowly. There he is on screen with I would say maybe a little bit of a better wheelie than what Gonzalez managed only a couple of moments earlier. So, and as I say that, we had Gonzalez in the background trying to prove me wrong. So that's what it is. But Leonardo Zani, finally a podium finisher in European Talent Cup. But Morelli, he put in a good fight. He managed to lead most of that race. It was only until a couple of laps to go. Gonzalez, after he made a small mistake with only a few laps remaining, managed to claw back that disadvantage and take the lead with 2 laps to go. We thought it was all over, with Gonzalez eking up the advantage to over 0.3 of a second. But as the final lap began, Marco Morelli began to reel back in the Spanish rider. And as we saw in race number 1, when Pugliese snatched it on the last lap, Marco Morelli returned the favour and took the race victory here in Misano. What an outstanding race we've just seen from European Talent Cup. 5 races down, 1 more to go, and they've all been absolute crackers. That's a big result for the MLAV racing team. That's been their first victory in the class since Casey O'Gorman back in Valencia of 2022. And after what has been such a difficult season, or difficult couple of seasons through rider injury and whatnot, you can imagine that the emotions will be running high down in the MLAV racing team. And Marco Morelli, he's really stamped his authority on the European Talent Championship, and you can imagine he will be putting his name out there as one of the stars of the future. Remember that name, Marco Morelli, the Argentinian, racing for MLAV Racing. So after he's been weighed, just to make sure that everything is all fine and dandy, he's preparing to run to the team, and they've been waiting to embrace him. Big cheers from the team, and it's absolutely great to see. There's Eddie O'Shea as well, who got a good result in race number 2 earlier on today. He was just there to congratulate Marco. They're all a big family. They're all getting extremely well, all the riders. And there's team manager Macaulay, who's had a bit of an up and down weekend with Marco on pole position, but Eddie and Evan Belford in JuniorGP having a bit of a struggle as well. But it all came good in the end, with Marco Morelli picking up a race victory and Eddie O'Shea picking up strong points in race number 2 and JuniorGP race 2. Leonardo Zani is sporting a very interesting haircut, we must say. Something I would have sported probably in my teenage years as well, so would Connor. But as you get a little bit older, you tend to make sure your hair grows out a little bit longer than that. But sporting it better than I ever could. And, well, you're going to see it atop the podium very shortly in the 3rd spot for his first podium of the season. P1 for Marco Morelli, numero uno, and MLAV Racing standing on top as they get in for the team picture. So that was Marco Morelli, Eddie O'Shea on there as well, Evan Belford also taking part in the team picture. But this was the earlier on in the race that he retook the lead from Gonzalez after he managed to take it back earlier on. But this is the moment from Gonzalez we didn't see at the time, a big rear end moment. That's why he lost that 1 second. But Gonzalez, with only a couple laps to go, retook the lead. But it was this move by Morelli on the final lap, setting up Gonzalez to the triple right-hander, would really put the authority on the young Spanish rider. As it came across the line, it was Morelli that beelined it to the finish line, and he became the master of Misano and European Talent Cup for 2024. Outstanding performance for Marco Morelli, and he is down in Park Fermi to be talking to Connor.
Again in the second. Can you tell us how it feels?
Yeah, I feel very good, man. Like, wow, this race is pro Omega. Like, I try a lot to push on the first laps because I want a race like go alone, but here it's not possible. Like, these guys go fast, and with this bike is not possible to overtake a gap, no? But on the last laps I try, and only in the 2 laps only was David and me, and yeah, David passed me. I feel a little scared because all the race was leading. But yeah, on the final I say, wow, I need to try, and I try. I take the victory, so happy, and yeah, very happy.
Thanks. Now in Spanish. Estuviste muy cerca en la primera carrera, en la segunda. ¿Lo has hecho? ¿Lo has logrado? ¿Cómo se siente ese momento?
Muy bien, la verdad que la carrera ha sido súper guay, me he divertido mucho. Al principio he tratado de tirar e intentar escaparme yo solo, porque al final una carrera solo siempre te evitas más problemas y todo, ¿no? Pero no ha sido posible, el grupo era de 4, me esperaba que fuera de 3, entonces ya ha sido una sorpresa. Luego he dado otro tirón y al final nos hemos quedado David y yo. David me pasó, wow, me costó recomponerme, ¿no? Pero bueno, al final en la última vuelta cerré los ojos, lo intenté y conseguí la victoria. Estoy súper feliz y nada, agradecer a todo el mundo que hace esto posible y a toda la gente que me esté viendo. Gracias.
A ti, muchísimas gracias.
Well, he's a quiet young Argentinian as Marco Morelli, but he puts all of his talking out there on the racetrack, and this is how he came to victory corner in Misano. So it was Pugliese who took the whole shot, but Gonzalez took the early lead with Morelli slotting into 3rd spot as we saw a big group crash behind. It was Marianus Nikolaos who slotted in the 4th spot after a great start, who slid out early doors. Thankfully, the Australian rider was thankfully unhurt. Top 4 pulled away with Morelli leading Gonzalez, Pugliese and Cano was charging through the pack as well. Martinez, I must admit, looking fantastic, swooping around the outside of Pugliese in the early laps of the race through the triple right-hander to end the lap. And Tienes diving for the inside as well, really showing no fear when it came to overtaking his challengers on the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli racetrack. But once again, it wasn't being deterred. He tried it again, but had to set it up. But then that was the last time he challenged Gonzalez for 2nd spot as he started to drop back with some tyre problems. Pugliese took 2nd, but as went into Caro corner, pushed the front a little bit too hard, and down he went. Your championship leader and race 1 winner was down and out. That left the top 2 to pull away, Morelli and Gonzalez, with Zani, Peroni and Tienes battling it out for the final podium position in the race. But it would be Gonzalez who would take the lead of the race with only a couple of laps to go from Morelli. As he entered the final laps, it would be Gonzalez who would be just a couple of tenths of a second ahead of Morelli, with this battle for 3rd raging on, with Tienes finding a way past his teammate Zani. But it would be Morelli setting up Gonzalez in the final stages of the race, holding on for victory, his first race win of the season, and now becomes the championship leader as we lead on to Portugal in just a few races' time. So Marco Morelli, the race 1 winner, here today as we see them go onto the podium, and we've got their team manager Macaulay, who's going to be receiving the trophy for the team representatives, and what has been a very difficult weekend and also a very jubilous weekend for the team as well. Big cheers for Marco Morelli, a rider that has been struggling for budget over the last couple of years and had a very funny moniker on the back of his helmet for Red Bull Rookies testing, saying he has no money, but I'm sure he will when people say that he is now a race winner. So Macaulay receives the team representative trophy. Leonardo Zani for a third spot, and a big result for him, his first podium in European Talent Cup. Just missing out on victory, but 2 podiums in one day, his first 2 of his career in European Talent Cup. Gonzalez in second spot, but the plaudits, the cheers are all held for Marco Morelli, who takes victory here at Misano. Marvelous Marco and Misano as he hears the Argentinian national anthem.
European talent.
Well, there you have it, the Argentinian national anthem ringing out across Misano, and it's for Marco Morelli, whose plan A seems to be coming off to perfection, riding the helmets. No plan B at the Red Bull Rookies test in Jerez last week. So, while plan A is going this good, well, it can continue it on as they absolutely soak each other, and also the team manager Macaulay as well on the podium. Outstanding performance from the top 3 on the podium. Marco Morelli, David Gonzalez and Leonardo Zani. All have got something to smile about. A kiss to the trophy from Leonardo Zani. And you can imagine that's going to be many, many more of those for the top 3 on the podium as they pose for the picture, which remember is Leonardo Zani from Gonzalez and then Marco Morelli taking the win.
That's right, Liam. The final results here from that race. Marco Morelli finishing first for the first time since 2020 in the ETCs, followed by David Gonzalez. Leonardo Zani completing that podium. 4th, Valentin Perrone. 5th, Tinez. 6th, Carlos Cano, again shooting up from P28. In 7th, Jesus Torres. Moving on to 10th now, Benjamin Calle. 11th, Perez. 12th, Ikegami. 13th, Tamburini. 14th, San Juan. 15th, David da Costa. 16th, Frelsen. 17th, Pugliese, who did, of course, win that first race in the ETC. Kyle Payne in 18th, 19th, Keanu Vejer. 20th, Almeida. 21st, Gutierrez. 22nd, Marco. And then we have Rodrigo, Rostagni and Nicolis, who unfortunately were unable to complete this race 2 in the European Talent Cup. Norway, Alex Longarella, Fernando Bujosa, Christian Daniel Jr. also unable to make it across that finish line. Here we have now the championship standings. Marco Morelli leading the way with 45 points. He's followed by Gonzalez and Perrone in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Pugliese is in 4th. Zani is in 5th. Cano in 6th. Tine in 7th. Torres in 8th and Tessini in 9th. Okay, in 10th, Perez in 11th, Alzina in 12th, Nicolas in 13th, Agostinelli 14th, Benyat Fernandez in 15th, Ikegami in 16th and Tamburini in 17th. And in 18th, Remy San Juan, 19th, Edu Gutierrez, 20th, David da Costa.
European Talent Cup action comes to a close with Marco Morelli taking his first win of the season and his 2nd in total. Can he repeat it again when European Talent Cup action gets back underway at Estoril in Portugal in only a couple of weeks' time? There's lots to see when the European Talent Cup action gets underway there, but please don't go anywhere because we've still got one more race to go. It's the Stock European Championship on its way next.